On October 2nd, 2026, a quiet one-room Amish schoolhouse became the scene of one of the most deadliest school shootings in Pennsylvania history. 10 young girls were shot, 5 died that day, and another victim would die from complications later in the years. But this case isn't remembered only because of the violence. It's remembered because within hours of the tragedy, the victims' families did something that stunned the entire world. Hi, I'm Paola Taz, and this is Crime Thread, where every case has a thread worth following. School shootings remain a tragic reality in the United States. Depending on how they're defined, the U.S. has averaged about 300 school shootings from the years of kindergarten to 12th grade in the recent years. While many never make national headlines, every one of them leaves a community forever changed. Today, I want to tell you a story of one school shooting that stands apart, not because of the violence itself, but because of what happened afterward. The response from the community shocked the nation. Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania is a home to many Old Order Amish people. The Old Order Amish religion is a distinctive and a tightly knitted group known for their simple living, plain dressing, and reluctant to adapt to many conveniences of modern technology. Family, community, and self-sufficiency are central to Amish life, and they support local economics through farming and homemade goods. Community and family are two pillars of the Amish society. They not only serve as a religious group, but also as a social network that supports each member from birth to old age. Families are large, usually about 6 to 10 children in each family, and every member contributes to the household and community duties from a young age. So safe to say, they are a very close group of people. Everyone knows everyone. So who was Charles Carl Roberts V? He was the oldest of 4 boys. He was homeschooled entirely. His brothers were involved in athletics and other activities at Lampeter Strasburg and Lancaster Christian high schools, from which they graduated. Teresa, Robert's mother, was worried that Roberts was becoming isolated. But when he was 15, he was interested in carpentry. And at the time they were renovating their home in Strasburg Township, Charles decided that it is what he wanted to do in life. I'm going to interchangeably say Charles and Roberts, but they mean the same person. 2 years later, he graduated and got a job at a construction company in 1994. There was only 4 men on the crew, and they all said that Roberts kind of just kept to himself. So much so that they didn't even know that he played basketball. It wasn't until he got a knee injury that they realized that he loved playing that sport. And that year, he was forced to go into disability because of it. During that time, he met his wife at a youth group, who was still in high school at the time. Roberts quit his job in 1996 and went for something more steadier. He installed garage doors. But this isn't really what he wanted to do in life. Roberts then marries Marie Welks, whose family operated a milk hauling business in November of 1996. A small side note on their wedding, Charles asked his father-in-law to drive them around on their wedding day in a milk hauling rig. Kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, everyone has their own thing. I'm not judging, but it's interesting. They bought a home that year and they had a child the next. But Roberts called in to work one day in November of 1997. He delivered horrible news that his daughter was born early and had died 20 minutes later. Robert said he needed some time off. The typically quiet, unemotional, and even-tempered Roberts was clearly shattered and heartbroken. At the funeral, Charles carried his daughter's casket from Georgetown United Methodist Church to the hearse, and from the hearse to the cemetery. Fast forward 2 years, Charles was able to get his CDL license, specifically in the Class A, which allows him to drive those big 18-wheelers. He got hired by his in-laws hauling milk, and his job was mostly in solidarity. You don't really work with anybody while you're hauling milk, as a trucker. And the hours were from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. Robert's new job put him in direct contact with numerous Amish families in the southern Lancaster and Chester counties. The relationship between the Amish and the Roberts was a little odd. For example, at one of the Amish farms, the father of the family did not allow his children around Roberts because Roberts cursed a lot and showed his frustration. So when Roberts would deliver the milk, he would just tell his kids to basically leave or to go play outside. On other days, the children would wave at him from the streets and he would not wave back. Either he was really in his own head, he was shy, or he was just being rude. Oftentimes, the Amish community wondered if Roberts even liked his job. On another occasion, after a big snowstorm hit the county, a few residents in the village of Nickel Mines noticed that Robert's milk truck was snowed in. So before he showed up for his route that day, some neighbors grabbed their shovels and cleared a path for him. The volunteers watched as Roberts showed up for work, hopped inside the cab, and started the engine and drove off without a word. Kind of rude. A thank you would have been appropriate there. But even though he had a family and his dream job, it seemed like the death of his daughter, Elise, had a major impact on him mentally. On the morning of October 2nd, he got his kids ready for school, and at 8:45, he walked the children to the bus stop. Just as the kids were boarding on, he called them off the bus so that he can give them a hug, and he reminded them that he really loved them. This sickens me. It sends full body shivers all over me, because how is he going to say that to his children while in his mind he already had a plan for what he was going to do that day to other kids? Anyways, Marie left 15 minutes later. She was headed to a prayer meeting. She thought that Roberts was going to go get a drug test for his job, since they required that. But he didn't go. Instead, he borrowed the neighbor's GMC, saying that he needed to haul some lumber. He loaded up 2x4s and 2x6 wood planks, a stun gun, and other supplies from the shed, and left a note for his wife and his 3 children at home. There were 3 pages left for his wife, but only one is made public. Some of it reads, "I don't know how you put up with me all these years. I'm not worthy of you. You are the perfect wife. You deserve so much better. We had so many good memories together, as well as the tragedy with Elise. It changed my life forever. I hadn't been the same since it affected me in a way I never felt possible. I am filled with so much hate. Hate towards myself, hate towards God, and unimaginable emptiness. It seems like every time we do something fun, I think about how Elise wasn't here to share it with us. And I go right back to anger." In separate letters to his children, Robert said he loved them and that they were really good. He then left to Valley Hardware Store, which is like a 2-mile drive from where he was. The register rang him up at 9:14 for eye bolts and 2 more packs of zip ties, which completed his assault checklist. The checklist Roberts had scribbled contained tape, eye bolts, tools, nails, wrenches, a hose, binoculars, earplugs, batteries, flashlight, a candle, wood, and tape. He had been keeping this list in a wire-bound notebook inside the cab of his milk tanker. Roberts also packed a few other items on his list: a 9mm gun, 12-gauge shotgun, and a 30-06 bolt-action rifle. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't know my guns. And about 600 rounds of ammunition. He was prepared for a standoff. Roberts had already screwed 10 eye bolts into one of the wood beams, each about 10 inches apart. Apparently, he intended to lash the girls with them. He had also purchased KY jelly, which is a sexual lubricant. It becomes clear later what he had planned to do, what dreams had haunted him in years, and what abuse he claimed to have inflicted on 2 young relatives decades ago. This claim was not verified. Meanwhile, the Amish children were at recess at West Nickel Mine School, less than a quarter-mile away. Some of the children Roberts knew as residents of the farms from which he hauled milk to. Several passerbyers, including a board member of the school, noticed a man standing in front of the auction house that morning, which is really close to the school. One of them noticed that when the teacher called her pupils back inside, minutes later, Roberts walked to his pickup truck, got in, and started driving towards the yellow schoolhouse. At 10:25, Roberts parks his car in front of the school to enter it. He asked the teacher, Emma May Zook, if she had seen a missing Clevis pin on the road. She said she had not, and he went back into his trunk and re-entered the school with a 9mm gun. He took a group of boys to help him unload his supplies from the trunk. Ms. Zook and her mother, who was visiting at the time, escaped to a nearby farm to call 911. Roberts then told some of the boys to go after them and that if they didn't catch them, they would all get shot. Ms. Zook and her mother thankfully reached Ammo Smoker's farm, who called 911 at approximately 10:36 a.m. Meanwhile, the other boys carried in lumber, a shotgun, a stun gun, wires, chains, nails, tool, a small bag, and wooden boards with multiple sets of metal eye hooks. The bag held a change of clothes, toilet paper, candles, and flexible plastic ties. Using wooden boards, Roberts barricaded the front door. Roberts ordered the girls to line up against the chalkboard. He allowed all the boys, 3 parents with infants, a pregnant woman, and a 9-year-old Emma Fisher. She escaped without her sister. At approximately 10:42, the first trooper showed up. While waiting for reinforcements, police tried to make contact with Roberts via the PA system in one of the patrol cars. They demanded that Roberts throw out his weapons out the window and to come outside. Roberts told them to leave. Residents of the village, ambulances, and police were outside of the school at 11 a.m. Roberts spoke briefly to his wife by cell phone and said he was upset with God for the death of his baby. He also told her he had molested 2 girls 20 years earlier and was having fantasies about molesting children again. Authorities were able to contact Roberts via cell phone. 911. Okay, what's the address of your emergency? It's on White Oak Road. I just took 10 girls hostage and I want everyone off the property or else. Okay, all right. Now. Okay, hold on a second. Don't try to talk me out of it. Get them all off the property now. Sir, I want you to stay on the phone with me, okay? I'm going to let the state police down there. I need to let you talk to them. Okay, can I transfer you to them? No, you tell them, and that's it right now, or they're all dead. In 2 seconds. He won't let me transfer. Hang on a minute. I'm trying to tell them. Okay. 2 seconds, that's it. Sir, listen to me, listen. In interviews done later, the girls knew they were in danger. Before Robert started shooting, 2 girls, Marina and Barbara, who were sisters, ages 13 and 11, they were so brave. They requested to be shot first so that the others might be spared. Barbara was wounded and Marina was killed. Roberts began shooting the victims and the state troopers approached the school. Once they got to the window, the shooting stopped and they busted inside and Robert shot himself in the head. 10 girls were shot. Naomi Rose Ebersole was 7 and she died at the scene. Marina Fisher was 13 and she died also on the scene. Ann Stoltzfus was 12 and was declared dead upon arrival at Lancaster General Hospital. Lena Zook Miller was 7, and she died at Milton Hershey Medical Center the next day. Mary Liz Miller was 9, and she passed at Christina Hospital also on October 3rd. Rosanna King was 6 years old and was removed from life support at Milton Hershey Medical Center. She was sent home at family request on October 4th. She had a serious brain injury, and she was said to recognize family members and frequently smile, but she never regained her ability to walk, talk, or feed herself. She succumbed to her injuries at the age of 23, which was on September 3rd, 2024. That was just 1 month shy of the 18th anniversary of the massacre. The girls wounded made measurable progress in the years after the shooting. Like Sarah Ann Stoltzfus, did not have full vision in her left eye, but was back at school, and she was not expected to survive. Barbie Fisher was pitching in school softball, but had undergone another shoulder operation to strengthen her right arm. Rachel Ann Stoltzfus returned to school in months after the shooting, and Esther King returned to school months after the shooting as well. She graduated and was working on the family farm. The whole community reacted in a manner that no one expected. I mean, I did not expect the reaction that they had when I read it. Usually, communities are up in arms for the victims. People crave justice, and usually there's a sense of hurt, anger, and hatred towards anyone related to the perpetrator's family members. But the Amish community showed grace, mercy, and forgiveness for the Roberts family. They had donated money to the killer's widow and her 3 young children. During the burial of Charles Roberts, the Amish community formed a semicircle to protect the family while they were grieving from the media. A grandfather of one of the murdered Amish girls was heard warning some of the young relatives not to hate the killer, saying, "We must not think evil of this man." Another Amish father noted he had a mother and a wife and a soul, and now he's standing in front of a just God. Jack Mayer, a member of the Brethren community living near the Amish in Lancaster County, explained, "I don't think there's anybody here that wants to do anything but forgive and not only reach out to those who have suffered a loss in that way, but to reach out to the family of the man who committed these acts." Mary Roberts wrote an open letter to the Amish neighbors, thanking them. She wrote, "Your love for our family has helped to provide the healing we so desperately needed. The gifts you've given have touched our hearts in a way no words can describe. Your compassion has reached beyond our family, beyond our community, and is changing our world, and for this we sincerely thank you." The Amish community stunned the nation. The West Nickel Mine School was demolished the following week on October 12, 2006. It was left as an open, quiet land. The New Hope School was built at a new location not too far from the original site. Its doors opened April 2nd, 2007. So I ask you guys, what part of this case stayed with you the most? The tragedy itself, or the incredible response from the Amish community? Leave your answers in the comment section below, and as always, like and subscribe to stay up to date to the latest episode. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.